why we've selected this bout to be just the second primetime boxing event on the CBS TV network in nearly 40 years. This showdown obviously presents huge implications in the welterweight division, which has historically always been boxing's glamour division.
Hey, good to see you, man.
With the retirement of Floyd Mayweather, this fight will arguably determine who is the face of the new 147-pound division, and certainly deserving the spot on the pound-for-pound list. With that, I'll turn it back to Lou. Suffice to say, I can't wait until March 4th.
Thank you, Stephen. But before I turn it back to the fighters, make one comment. It's 11 days before the fight, and we wanted to give everyone an opportunity to talk to Thurman, to talk to Keith, to talk to Danny, to discuss their preparation, where things stand right now with the fight on the immediate horizon. They're going to be on the call together to answer your questions after they each say a few words. But I'd ask that there be no questions relating to Angel or anything that happened at the press conference. What's happened has happened, and it's now in the hands of Angel and the New York State Athletic Commission, and it'll be dealt with there. So just a heads up that if anyone doesn't hear me and starts to ask a question, I'm going to interrupt. First, I'd like to bring you the WBA World Welterweight Champion with a record of 27-0 with 22 KOs. The pride of Clearwater, Florida, Keith one-time Thurman. Keith, how's everyone doing today? We're all good, champ. All right, well, I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to the questions and looking forward to this fight. It's going to be a great fight. Danny?
Yeah, I'm here.
Garcia, 33-0, 19 KOs out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Like Keith, 28 years old. Danny's the WBC World Welterweight Champion. Danny?
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I want to thank the media for joining us for this conference call. I'm excited about the fight March 4th. Can't wait to be victorious that night. Thanks.
With no further ado, we'll open it up for the questions for the press.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad, and I'm waiting for callers to join the queue at this present time. Our first question is going to come from Dan Raphael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, everybody. I wanted to start with a couple of questions for Keith. Hey, Keith.
Hi, Dan. How you doing?
I'm good. My first question for you, Keith, is this. After you knocked out Collazo, you had 11 months out of the ring. I don't think it was your choice necessarily. And then after your next fight, when you had the win against Sean Porter, also on a big CBS event, then it was another 9 months off until you have this fight coming up with Danny. So on the one hand, you had good exposure because the Collazo fight was in front of a lot of people on ESPN. The Sean Porter fight was in front of a lot of people on CBS, but hard to build a name when you have such long gaps between your fights. So I wanted to get your view of, on the one hand, having your fights put out there on big platforms, not having a regular schedule, so the people that may have seen and enjoyed those fights get an opportunity to see you more often to help build you up into a even bigger name than you are. What is your view of the balancing act between a great exposure, but really not too many, not fighting often enough, it would seem, for a top fighter?
Well, I just didn't want to have a stay busy fight, man. I just wanted to have a fight that I wanted, and it's the fight that we're getting. So, if I had to wait for it, I wait for it, When fighters are staying busy, they put themselves on a certain fight schedule, and then sometimes it's hard to make the big fights happen because, this fighter's in a training camp and he's getting ready for a fight, and then the other guy starts his training camp to fight somebody else. And I just wanted the fights that I want, man. I'm not complaining about my career. I'm not complaining about my exposure or my celebrity status. I'm not really boxing to be a super
celebrity, even though there is superstardom in the sport of boxing. I'm living the dream that I've always wanted to live, and I'm proud of it. You know, this is a fight that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm excited about it. And then from here, I am hoping to, give you guys a minimum of 2 fights this year. So we'll be more active than we have been recently. But things have happened. Last year we had the injury, the car accident. That was a setback. And when setbacks occur, there's nothing you can do. I'm young. I plan on being in this game for as long as I possibly can be. So I'm not complaining, man, and I'm happy to be where I am in the sport of boxing today.
Okay, so I know that I think if I'm not mistaken, you would have preferred to have this fight if possible at the end of last year. Danny, obviously, and his team decided to take the fight that they took at the end of the year in Philadelphia. So are you saying that you were willing to just wait it out, let Danny have the tune-up fight that he said that he needed, and then make the fight now as opposed to trying to force the issue at the end of last year? You were content to sort of lay back and let this fight get made when it got made?
Yeah, this is the fight I wanted, and I had no, objective of waiting for it if that's what we needed to do. It's not optimal, but at this stage, I can live off of one paycheck, and I was able to do that. My body went through a lot with the car accident and the rehab that I had to go through. So honestly, too, last year was a big year for me. It was my 20th year anniversary in boxing, in the sport of boxing. And so even though I fought once, I got to sit back, relax, and reflect, and really just pat myself on the back that, you're champion of the world. You've accomplished the dreams that you and Ben Getty set out for yourself as a young child. And I know it might be aggravating for fight fans, but for me, it was a blessing, man. I was happy to just reflect on all of my accomplishments and really just get ready to put on a tremendous performance for 2017. I got to travel the world a little bit last year and just do things for Keith Thurman, man, and just appreciate, what I've accomplished and the lifestyle that I'm living today. And, it is what it is. I could have stayed busy. There were some options out there. Danny took his tune-up. He didn't want to go from Robert Guerrero and sitting and, fought shorter. So I would have been a little bit more active than them, and they wanted to get back into activity and then take the big fight. And there's nothing wrong with that. I respect that. And that's why I waited to make this fight happen, because this is the fight I wanted. I believe this is the fight fans deserve. And I wanted to challenge myself and go for my second title.
I want to ask you also, Keith and Danny, maybe when Keith is done with the answer, you can answer the question also. When you hear Steven Espinoza in the introductory remarks talk about how few welterweight unification fights there have been in boxing, and that you guys are fighting to unify the same belts that the great Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns fought for, in their very famous fight, many, many years ago, at the pinnacle of the sport, those two guys, Hall of Famers, both of them. How does that make you feel to know that the hardware that you guys are going to bring into the ring to try to unify are the same titles that those two great fighters had? Keith, your thoughts about where this fight lies, perhaps, in the history of boxing. And then, Danny, if you could answer also when Keith is finished.
I mean, it's what boxing's all about, is making history. That's my ultimate goal, is to not just make a living for myself, not just live my American dream and accomplish my goals as an athlete, but my ultimate goal has been, ever since I was a child, is to make history in the sport of boxing, so that when I'm done boxing, people get to remember who Keith One Time Thurman really was, what he brought to the welterweight division, and hopefully, arguably, when people start talking about their favorite fighters and the greatest fighters of all time, that there will be somebody standing in a circle who said, I really love that boy Keith One Time Thurman. For me, that's what it's all about.
Danny, your thoughts on that? About the unifying of those belts that those great fighters had? And the rarity of these welterweight unifications? Yeah,
it feels good, man. It's an honor at the end of the day. I feel like I'm cut from that cloth, that Duran, that Hagler cloth. I'm a throwback type fighter. I'm an old school fighter in the streets of Philadelphia. So, it feels good, to be fighting for those titles and give me the opportunity to win my 4th world title.
Danny, you've been an underdog many times in your fights, you surprise a lot of people because you keep on winning. You're still undefeated. You fought a number of good opponents. I think you're the underdog again in this fight against Thurman. Is that something you're just basically used to and don't even think about it? Or do you think about it and just make it a part of your preparation mentally to want to go out there and try to prove people wrong, to think that your opponent is going to defeat you?
At the end of the day, the courage the better, be the better. At the end of the day, they don't know what I could do. I've been here before. It's not new to me. So at the end of the day, like I said before, I know what I could do. I know I'm a great kid, so I'm gonna show March 4th.
All right, very good, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Our next question is going to come from Eddie Goldman from the No Holds Bar. Please go ahead. Eddie, your line is live.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much. Sorry for that. Hi, hello everybody. First question for Keith. Keith, you guys are about almost the same age. You have similar records. You're both undefeated. You both have major world belts. Tell us why you're very confident you're going to win this fight. Tell us why you think you're going to win on March 4th.
Well, being an undefeated champion, I've never lost. I feel strong. I have a strong amateur background. He does too. I'm just bred for this sport, man. I mean, this is my life. This is what I do. I love the challenge. I love the fight game. I love another man trying to get the best of me right in front of me, going toe to toe with me. I just live for it, man. I'm always willing to never back down. I'm bigger than Danny naturally. He was always smaller than me in the amateurs. He's smaller than me in the pros. He's moving up. He might hold his weight well, but naturally I'm just a little bit bigger, so that gives me some confidence there. We both have great records, great resumes, lots of knockouts, but I have less fights, more knockouts. So I believe that I do punch harder, and that I just edge them out statistically a little bit, and it's just gonna come down to the fight, who lands the right punches at the right time, and strength and conditioning, and just everything that the fight game's about, man. I always come prepared for these kind of fights. I'm just looking forward to it. Nowadays